Hey everyone!
We already have.
Look at the mess up. How
What?
can Jonathan be on the left and me on the right? We've got to fix that. Oh, there we go.
As you are more important, but this makes sense.
No, it's because my light is coming from the left.
Because now I am at your right hand. How appropriate!
Oh, that is so nice. Yes. So, gentlemen, how have we been? It's been, Jonathan. We were so happy to see you. I have to say, we missed you for so long that having you here is always a good surprise.
I was here last week for the first session.
Hello, Jonathan, Santana, and Muriel. What's up?
I'm very, very bored. I have only been playing video games and writing sermons. That's all I've been doing.
Wow. I don't remember the last time we played a video game.
4, gentlemen.
Yeah.
I'm on the bandwagon.
Is that a free game on PlayStation?
No.
So here we go. I played enough. I paid enough for games, so I'm not going to pay for any more.
Well, you should watch the show. It's fantastic.
Well, I saw Last of Us, and that was really good.
Yes, it's on par with that.
Colton, do you play games?
Really enough to say that I do.
Yeah.
Well, what a
I'm not much of a gamer. Well, when I was a kid,
I watch a lot of Twitch though. I watch a lot of other people play games.
When I was a kid, I had the NES Classic, and I loved it. And I've got the PlayStation 4, but I don't do much with it. By the way, I will announce to everybody that I got a new American passport, so I can maybe travel back to the States and see my family.
I will fly to Missouri if you come back.
Yes.
I will.
That would be lovely.
Last time you did that.
I've not been back to the States since 2017.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. And my passport expired in March this year. And
my passport too. Mine's expired.
Went and got it renewed. You need to get your passport renewed so you can come and bring your tail to Israel.
We're going to
Indeed. Well, it's nice to see Jonathan and Muriel with us. Kind of missing everybody else that used to jump in here, but I understand that Joshua's kind of boring, dragging on. That's why we're going to move on to something else as soon as this chapter's done. Maybe we'll do like Psalms or something that they can.
People said that they would like to do Judges, but we can.
I think Judges is just going to be more of Joshua, like it's.
Oh yeah, but the drama of Judges is great. Oh
yeah, but if we got into some Psalms have small little verses that you can just repeat again and again and again and really get excited about. I think Psalms would be, and also I think that we're afraid of doing Psalms because we think Psalms is poetry and poetry is hard and all that. But once you actually just sit down and read the Psalms, like most of the Psalms, I think that you're going to love it. Like most Jews pray the Psalms, like the Psalms, like Dr. Varner talks about praying the scriptures, and there's nothing like reading the Psalms to get you inspired.
Right.
So, so I think it might be a good idea.
Oh, I see. Jonathan Santana. I thought you were talking about me. I was like, I've been back.
Well, this is why I have to say Jonathan Santana because you're
I did not hear the Santana part.
Maybe I'll just say Santana for Jonathan out there.
Jonathan B and Jonathan S. That's what we were in school. Jonathan B and Jonathan.
That's too much for me to remember. I will remind everybody that we have our Facebook group, facebook.com/𝗔𝗡𝗦𝗏. You are welcome to drop by. Of course, you can chat away on the Facebook page. It would be really good to have some activity there. I always want activity, but the problem is that most of the people who want to engage in Hebrew stuff online are generally dealing with weird woo-woo stuff that I'm not interested in. So if you are really interested in Hebrew, then come over and engage, because I don't want to hear, the weird stuff.
I have never heard the adjective woo-woo before.
Yes.
Really? Woo-woo. It sounds almost like a dirty bedtime word.
Well, no, woo-woo is like mystical nonsense. And also, of course, some of you are over on our Patreon, like Colton and Muriel also signed up, and Adele, and Adele is here, yay!
Yeah.
Adele, we're going to be seeing you in a couple of hours too. You're going to be Hebrewed out by the end of the night. I think you're probably going to suffer through more than what Jonathan's going to have to suffer through tonight.
Oh,
And anyway, so
I'm not going
patreon.com/𝗕HebrewCafe. Come along and sign up and get involved in engaging with us, like Colton, jumping up on screen and reading and participating.
I do not get. Are you referencing? Oh, you're referencing the Santana song. Clever, clever, clever.
I know, right?
But what? Oh no, it's what did Matchbox 20 sing that with him? No.
No.
Who was it?
Some of us don't know these things, but let's get into Hebrew.
Yes.
We are 6 minutes in. Let's start the show.
Emotion that I promised you. You've got the kind of love that be so.
They could be so smooth. That's why you said
make
smooth.
it real, or else forget about it. Okay, let's do some Hebrew.
Yes. We will call to your attention that in what's it called? In Wine Green, we are covering the addition of personal suffixes to the infinitive construct, to basically everything outside of the katal form, everything outside of the past tense. And so I want to really try to notice while we're reading the use of object suffixes.
Ooh, I've got weird markers on my logos.
Well, you can look at my logos. I've increased the font a bit because I think it'll make it more visible. And then moved the window so that the apparatus is smaller on the right side. When you're reading the actual text of the BHS, the text in the top is going to be bigger and the text in the apparatus is going to be smaller. So it kind of matches reality that way. Notice that there are no textual marks in verse 18. We can see. What's that, Jonathan?
I guess I'll put my window to the side so I can keep an eye on chat. Yeah.
Yes. Keep an eye on chat. Great. So who wants to begin and tell us also while you're reading about the word golu? Golu. Who wants to start? Or do you want me to start? We're starting in verse 18. All right, I guess I'll start since nobody's jumping up. Okay. Verse 18 says, Vayomer Yoshua. Yoshua has the zakef katon, the two dots on top. That is telling us it's pause and that this is the subject of the verb. Vayomer Yoshua, Joshua said, Golu avanim dolot el pi hame'ara vehavkidu aleha anashim leshomra. Leshomra. Not leshamra, leshomra. All right, so Vayomer Yoshua.
Leshomram.
Sorry, I was thinking, I was reading it as because I was thinking of the cave.
Yeah.
In my brain, Amera is feminine, and I was thinking Leshomra is referring to the cave. I don't know why. I wasn't reading the word as written. It was just going on in my head.
Yes, Colton, that's what I was saying. It's the lead singer, but it's not the whole band. Yep.
We don't care about that. We care about Hebrew.
So,
Golu avanim gdolot. Avanim is feminine. Notice we've talked about it before. About 30% of nouns take what we conceive to be as the opposite gender plural endings. We should not conceive them that way. Just like there are masculine nouns in the second declension in Greek, like mathetes. Mathetes is a disciple and it ends in ace, and we think that ace is a feminine ending, but it's not. Avanim is not, the im is not a feminine ending, it is just a plural ending, but it looks masculine. It's not. Avanim gdolot. We see gdolot. Gdolot tells us it is feminine because adjectives always carry the real gender of the noun with which they agree. So avanim gdolot, big rocks. Roll big rocks el pi hame'ara, to the mouth of the cave.
So how about you tell us about Golu? Why is it Golu?
So Golu is from the root gimel lamed lamed. Okay, if it shows up really well in the past tense when we're talking like they rolled, we'd say galelu. Galelu. When you add the T ending for me or the ta for you, we say galoti, galota. Like we say havinoti, havinota with lehavin. This is just a strange thing about Hebrew, was sometimes they add an ot infix, o, ot. That's not necessary, but it's there. And the imperative, which is what we have here, golu, do it, roll, takes either the O or the A quality vowel. It can be gal or gol. And when we look at this in Halot, the Hebrew and Aramaic lexicon of the Old Testament, it will show us these forms. See, the kal, is what we're dealing with. We're going to see galoti, I rolled, galalu, they rolled. The imperfect, vayagel, and he rolled. The imperative, gol or gal, and the imperative here, the plural, golu. Okay, and the participle, golel, he is golel. In modern Hebrew, we don't do this. We use legalgel. We take the whole root and we double it. It becomes a palpel. When we say legalgel, it's like a PL. Ani megalgel mashu. I roll something onto something else. Al mashu acher. Golelu. There is. It feels like there should be a passive with golel. Megolala, rolled or trailed. That's a passive. This happens. It's like namogu, the nifal verb namogu, melted. The hearts melted. It's going to be the same root, the same type. It's a difficult form that you need to look at individually. And if we want to check it out online,
does it
remember that?
Does it happen with all the geminates, or the 2-3 verbs, as Cook calls them, or the double ion verbs?
It happens a lot. The geminate roots often will split apart and become lepalpel, like pilpel. That happens a lot with geminates. Let's look at this root specifically. We want to go to the Academy's website. So we're going to 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗥𝗓𝗦 Lelashon. Don't yawn in the microphone.
Sorry,
sounds like you're bored.
Hey,
Luchot Nitiat HaPoal at the bottom. Luchot Nitiat HaPoal. These are the verb conjugation charts. Luchot are tables. Nitiya is like leaning or inclining, and the poal is the verb. So we're going to look at the root gimel lamed lamed. That's the root. And these are the forms, the different binyanim that are associated with it. Kal, nifal, piel, poal, hufal, pl, poal, and hitpael. Okay, so let's look at the kal. Okay, the kal. We can say galalti, which would be a modern rendition of it, or in the biblical form galoti that we mentioned before. Galalta, galota. Galalt, galot. Galal, galela. Galalnu, galonu. Glaltem, galotem. That's a double lamed there. Galotem. Glalten, galuten, and so on. And the galelu in the Bible is going to have a vocal shva with a chataf patach. Galelu. And that chataf patach is only to indicate that the shva is definitely vocal. But this is a good way to look at forms. If we look at the nifal, this is a good way to check forms by going to the Hebrew Academy, the Hebrew Language Academy. I don't know how you search for this, but the site is hebrew-academy.org.il, and you can always check by root. But notice if you want to say like he built, bana, the root is not bet nun hey. It won't find anything. It says you have to write the root that with a yod instead of a hey.
Why?
Okay, because the third hey is a yod actually. So baniti. So you've got bana in the nifal or kal and so on.
John Cook.
Okay, so just so
third heys are a myth.
Yeah, no, third heys do exist, but only if they have the mapik, like gava.
Right.
Gava is a real word, and so you see gava, like the hey is real. Gavati. Okay, you can play around with that website if you've got time. It's a great tool. Other people use Pealim. There's a website, Pealim. Anyway, so golu is a fun root, a fun word. You can look up the forms, and also to find them on Logos where it's where it's found, go to the root here, galal, and then you can tell it to search for all the instances of galal, and it will find them in the Bible eventually.
All right, my turn.
Well, I haven't finished yet.
Well,
so גולו אבנים גדולות למערה והפקידו עליה אנשים לשומרם. Okay, and station upon it people to keep them. And the them here is not the cave; it is the kings that are inside of the cave. Right? We want to put them under guard so they don't escape. I was reading it as l'shomra, put guard over the cave. Again, the intention so that they don't escape. But, any questions? I think we're good. We have 7 viewers. Whoever hasn't said hello, please say hello. Hi, Michael Burke. Welcome back. How you doing? Anybody else out there in live chat who wants to say hello, you are welcome to.
There are, yes. All right. 19. ואתם אל תעמודו רדפו אחרי אויביכם וזינבתם אותם. אל תיתנום לבוא אל עריכם כי נתנם אדוני אלוהיכם בידכם. Interesting. Beyedchem.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Yedchem instead of Yadchem.
I've never seen it. So, anyway. So, as for you, do not stand. Lead the food.
What's it mean, do not stand?
Ta'amodu? Amad, to stand? Yeah. Oh, to take a stand.
No, it's kind of like don't just stand there. Don't stand still. La'amod can mean to stand still, not to move.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we say it in Hebrew all the time. It's kind of funny, like for an American, because we say that a car sits in traffic, right? We say it sits in English.
Amad.
In Hebrew, you don't say it sits.
Oh, yeah,
you
sure.
Say it
okay. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Al ta'amodu, don't stand there. Get moving.
Do not stand there. Pursue after your enemies. And, well, is this the tail them? Yeah, cut them off from the rear. Do not, let's see. Do not allow them works better. So do not allow them to come to the the cities, of course. Ki natanam, but or for the Lord your God has put them into your hand, given them into your hand.
Yeah. Don't allow them to enter into their cities, for the Lord your God has given them into your hand. All right, good. What do you take with? We said ta'amodu. Why is it ta'amodu and lo ta'amdu?
Pause. So
pause.
One of the things that's interesting that we might want to talk about is lead the fu being an imperative with 2 consecutive shavas. So first one turns into a hirik. Which is nice and neat.
And what is the word zinavtem?
Zinavtem, an real imperfect. So this would be one of the things I want to research is traditionally grammars will tell you that the vav consecutive perfect takes an imperative force if it comes after an imperative. I wonder if it always does that.
I don't know. Something to look at.
Meaning, yeah.
Zinavtem is from what word?
I'm sorry?
Lezanev, zinavtem is from what word?
Nav, to tail. cut off from the rear.
Zanav is a tail, yeah.
Yeah.
Zanav is a tail, so this is turning zanav into a verb.
Yep. So then
it's a denominative. It comes from a noun.
D being the PL for those that
Tail them, make a tail of them, like cut them off from the back. Okay, titnum al titnum lavo el arihem. What's titnum?
Well, you've got the second person gessive plus the third common plural or third masculine plural form plus the second masculine plural suffix.
That's a bunch of words. What does that mean?
That means that you have...
Break it apart. Break it into pieces.
𝗙𝗚𝗏 would be the regular second person gessive. But 𝗙𝗚𝗏 would be the third masculine plural.
Second masculine plural.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Second masculine plural. And then the mem, instead of it just adds the mem since it already has a vowel there.
So it's like titnu otam. Titnu otam.
Yep.
We break it apart. Normally, when you use latet, natan, as permission, you give to someone to do something. Al titnu lahem lavo el arihem. Don't allow them to. But in this case, it is using it as a direct object, which is something that we're going to see also in another place later on with a different verb. Okay. What about netanam? Break that apart.
Well, same thing, except it's a feminine singular plus the suffix.
No feminine. No feminine.
Wait, hold on. What are you looking at?
The subject is Adonai, isn't it?
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I lost my spot. Oh, I didn't finish the verse. Yeah, I did.
You did. But it's highlighted on the screen. Netanam.
Yeah, third person masculine singular. But that's that's just part of the suffix vowel pattern.
When you're saying third person masculine singular and all of those things, like my brain just shuts off. I don't follow at all.
What do you do? How do you explain it?
Because when you do that, like to me, it's just a bunch of labels. It's like I can't.
Well, that's what grammar is. It's labels.
Right. Yeah. But I would say Natan otam. Natan otam netanam. Natan otam netanam. So when you say Natan otam, it's very clear that he gave them. He gave them or he put them.
I will continue to do it as every Semitic grammarian does it. You can do it how you want.
That's why their students don't learn Hebrew very well.
No, that's because they're too. Well, I mean, you can explain things in different ways to make it make more sense. I have
a hard time with that. Once you start saying third person masculine, in my brain, I'm like, I don't know where he's going with this.
Third person is he or she, masculine.
I know what it means. If you write it down, I will follow you. If you're talking, I'm just like, whatever.
Would you rather me say? You rather me say third person masculine singular or 3MS like most seminary students say?
3MS. I can follow 3MS more easily.
But I thought you hated initially. You make no sense sometimes. All right.
All right, Colton verse 20. Where did we go so far? So far, these 5 kings tried to waylay them, and they lost, and they ran off, and they're hiding in a cave, and they told Joshua they're hiding in a cave, and Joshua said, chase after them and lock them up, put stones on the caves, and then when they come out, like attack them, right? Okay, so here we go.
𝗙𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗥𝗡 יהושע ובני ישראל להכותם מכה גדולה מאוד.
We have a lot of ch sounds in Hebrew. We have a lot of ch sounds, but you have to distinguish between ch and ka. Maka. Not macha.
מכה גדולה מאוד עד תומם והשרידים
Sri. Think of it SRI. Sridim. Sridim.
Siri.
𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗥𝗡.
Oh, she answered me. Sorry.
𝗕𝗑𝗦𝗡𝗥𝗡 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗥𝗡.
Mm-hmm.
All
So
right.
obviously, Sardu and Sridim are related, right? Srid and Sardu.
Mhm.
Srid.
Yeah.
Srid. Yeah. Okay.
And I don't know what that means, so if you want to go ahead and tell me a quick gloss for that.
Survivors.
Okay.
The Sardu, we would say today in the Nifal, Nisredu. Lehisared is to survive.
Okay.
Lehisared.
And it was when Joshua and the children of Israel finished smiting them a very great smite, unto the nth degree, unto completion, and the survivors survive. Some of the survivors survived. They came to the cities of the Mitzar.
The siege. I'm not sure. It could be like a safe city, like a. I don't know if it's a safe city, fortified. Yeah, it's like one with walls and stuff.
Yeah.
So let's see what they say in RSV. Joshua and the Israelites had finished inflicting a very great slaughter on them until they wiped them out. All right, and when the survivors had entered the fortified cities, blah 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 blah. It continues on. Great. What is this? 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗥𝗡.
Yeah. So it's PL infinitive construct with a prefix kaf. It denotes like contemporaneous action. So when it was finished.
Yeah, just like the kaf, when you attach it to asher, ka'asher means when, right? So this is a time, Vayhi 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗥𝗡 Yoshua, and it was according to the finishing of Joshua and the sons of Israel to strike them. Yeah. So according to the finishing means when they finished. When they finished. What is the first verse in the Bible that uses the word kila? Kila is this word lechalot. Lechalot, to complete, to finish.
Is it in the Lord finished from all his work which he had done?
But the first one was that the heavens and the earth were finished, and all their hosts. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzva'am. Then the next one, Vayichal Elohim, and God finished all the work which he had done. Right?
I was close, is what you're saying.
Exactly. So it's right after. It's right. The two verses are one after the other. So Vayichulu is the pual, the passive, and then the next verse, Vayichal. Vayichal. I think it's Genesis chapter 2. I think it's the beginning of chapter 2 when the 7 days were finished, and it's before they start in chapter, like the second story of the creation. All right, brilliant. What else do we see here? Lehakot otam, to strike them. Lehakotam. We can say this also in modern Hebrew. You can say tov lirot otcha, it's good to see you. Tov lirot otcha, or we can say tov lirotcha, it's good to see you. Tov lirotcha. Sridim are survivors, people who survived, and the ones surviving that survived from the ones who survived from them came unto the fortified cities. Okay, great. We're good. Should have been Genesis 1. It should have been, yeah, it should have been Genesis 1, but it's a little bit. The chapters are divided funny, right? Genesis 1 and 2 are divided strangely.
Can I ask a question about the last two words? So it's literally like the cities of the fortification. Is that what we're like?
Let's look at. Hello. Mitzar is a noun, yes. Secure position, fortified city. 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗧 is an expression that goes together. A fortified city, a city with a strong garrison, a fortress.
It's still, I mean, just my internal, my head canon tells me that it should be like 𝗟𝗓𝗦𝗧𝗎𝗓 or something like that, but
𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗬𝗧 מבצרות. Like, because R is feminine.
Okay.
Yeah, like Abanim.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, מבצר isn't an adjective, it's a noun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cities
that's
of fortification. Yeah. All right. וישובו כל העם אל המחנה, אל יהושע מקדה בשלום. לא חרץ לבני ישראל לאיש את לשונו. Let us see what the marks are here. Okay, so A, the El Machane is missing from the Septuagint. Wonderful. B, this Leish says probably a doublet with the Lamed ditography. Compare it to the Septuagint. It says perhaps Kelev. I wonder why. A dog. I don't get that. Anyway, reading it as it goes. What's that?
Sec. What's the sec mean there?
It says secundum according to Exodus 11:7.
What do that say?
But not a dog shall growl at any of the Israelites, not at people, not at animals. Like it says that a dog did not bark against them, something like that. So all the people returned to the camp to Joshua. The Septuagint removes the words to the camp. It's enough to say all the people returned to Joshua. In Makeda is the place name. That's where Joshua is or was. Beshalom, in peace. They came back in well-being or wholeness. They didn't have anybody die from the army, I guess is the idea. Lo charatz livnei Israel kelev et loshono. If we take the Septuagint, that a dog, or I don't know, not necessarily the Septuagint, but the BHS reconstruction. It says that a man did not open his mouth or wag his tongue against the Israelites. It probably is saying, it means that no one and nothing had any attack in them toward the Israelites. Let's see how the NRSV handles it. All the people returned safe to Joshua at the camp. Safe is this idea of beshalom, in peace, safely. No one dared to speak against any of the Israelites. The note says, the Hebrew says that he moved his tongue. No one moved his tongue to the Israelites. But maybe it's referring to dogs because of what Exodus had said, that a dog would not bark at them. There's nothing really fancy about the forms here. Vayashuvu is middle week. Lashuv, to return. Very, very common word. Nothing interesting, I think. Verse 22, Jonathan.
Yes.
Nobody's asking questions still in the live chat. One of these days you're going to start doing it, I hope.
Well, yeah, maybe. We need to get more people in here. Yes, so or 22, right? Vayomer Yoshua pitchu et pi ha'ma'ara v'hotzi'u elai rather et chameshet hamelachim ha'ele min ha'ma'ara.
Not ma'ara, but me'ara.
Me'ara. You're never gonna make me say the Shavah is an E. Sorry. It's been ingrained in my brain too much. So Joshua said, literally, I guess, open up the mouth of the cave, which is weird. Was it like Jesus's tomb? Was there a stone there blocking the way? Maybe it's...
Well, that's where we started the first verse, verse 18, where they said, roll large stones into the opening of the cave, the mouth of the cave.
Yes. Oh, yes. So they closed it once. Now they're opening it for some reason. Why bother closing it in the first place?
To let them out. First, they had to go and attack all the people. Now they're letting the kings out.
So open up the mouth of the cave and bring me these five kings from the cave. So, yes. once again, an imperative followed by an real perfect carries an imperative force. And then you have the 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗚𝗛, which is sometimes hard to grasp. 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗧𝗓, right? And the hifil of a first vav or a first yod verb turns into a first vav because most first yod verbs were first vav verbs originally. So we see both of those things there. And then 𝗥𝗑𝗦𝗃, I think, is just a construct form, right?
Yep.
It sounds like a participle, but it ain't. Yep. So cool.
So like the five of the kings, the five
Right,
of the kings,
five
the five.
things, yeah. So I think that's otherwise pretty straightforward.
And they have chiastic concord, more words that Jason probably hates.
Oh, Jesus.
Chiastic concord.
I hate those labels. I hate those labels. That's something
that one doesn't bother me. That one doesn't bother me because I like chiasm.
The ancient writers weren't going, oh, I think I'll write a chiasm now. Like,
oh, but they felt it. They felt it in their bones.
Oh, in their kishkas, as my professor would say.
No, there's that one verse. There's that one verse in Aramaic from Jeremiah chapter 10, chapter 11. I don't know. There's a verse in Aramaic that says, is it 10:11?
Yeah, I think it's 10:11. Yeah.
Let's skip over there because this is I always get excited about that verse. I think that Adele has already heard me preach about it. What happened to my text? Why did it pop into the? Oh, because it's Aramaic.
It's in the Aramaic. I was about to say.
I'm like, what happened? Okay, so let's see. It says, we'll just read verse 11. קידנתם רון לחום, אלא היה דשמיא וערכה לה עבדו, יבדו מערעה ומן תחום שמיא אלה. And a lot of translations mess this up. The word ele at the very end, the word ele, is not saying Shmaya ele, these heavens. And so many translations say, and from under these heavens, umintchot Shmaya ele. The word ele is both like linguistically similar to the word Elahaya, gods, and in chiasm with it. Gods that heavens and earth did not make, and the word avadu sounds like the word yevadu. Yevadu, they will perish. Yeah. We have a chiasm. Avadu goes in opposite position with yevadu. One's at the end of the sentence, one's at the beginning of the sentence. Then we have arka, this word here, arka, that is suddenly ar'a. It's the same word, but it's just one is with a kuf, one is with an ayin. Me'ar'a u'mintchot shmaya. Mintchot shmaya is in chiasm with shmaya. And ele is the subject of the verb yevadu. These shall perish.
Well,
gods that heavens and earth did not make, these shall perish from the earth and from under the heavens.
It is weird, though, that it takes a segol. Right? I think it would just be elah usually. So it's like somebody's confusing the demonstrative pronoun with the noun.
No, ele is these. It's a demonstrative pronoun. Ele, these shall perish. It's real. It's.
Oh,
like
I thought you were talking about shmaya, but yeah.
Yeah, shmaya is heavens. Like, this is chiasm at its best. There are four elements of chiasm. There is the word elahaya that is in chiasm with ele. There is shmaya that's in chiasm with trot shmaya. There is arka, which is in chiasm with ar'a. And there's five elements. There's avadu with yevadu. This is an amazing verse. It's no wonder that when they were writing all of the text in Hebrew, they left that verse in Aramaic, because the chiasm works so well. We don't have this chiasm in Hebrew because the word avadu would be asu.
Yeah.
And so the chiasm would be lost with Yevadu,
So
which would be in Hebrew Yovedu.
My Logos does not do that funky font thing that yours does.
Probably because I didn't set it up to put Aramaic in the same font. But okay, so back to it. I'm sorry, that was my preachment, and I'm sure that Adele heard that before.
Jason's sermon of the day.
Yes, my sermons always have to do with Hebrew grammar and not with theology.
I wonder why.
That verse is fantastic. That is the first verse that you learn in Aramaic from Greenspan.
Yes.
And I think that if you want to get a start in Aramaic, you should memorize that verse. That verse is brilliant. It's beautiful.
Also a very good Aramaic textbook.
Yeah.
Contrary to what's his face, Van Pelt. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't like Van Pelt's book.
Nope.
Brilliant. 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗚𝗛𝗪, I think, see, I remember reading a short story in Spanish when I was in college, and they said that he pulled a gun out the window, like there was a guy that he was shooting at, right? And I think they used the word sacar. Sacar is to push out or pull out or something. To me, it meant pull out, like you take out your book from your bag or you take out money from your wallet. And so when I read that, I was confused because he was not pulling out. He was going the opposite direction, putting it out the window to shoot somebody. And I was really confused. The word להוציא is the same. In Hebrew, it means both the action of taking it out this way and also being inside and making it go out. Like either way, it's the idea of out. That I thought I was the only one who was. Well, Jonathan Santana, I think he's talking about Van Pelt. Says I thought I was the only one who wasn't a fan of his work.
Not Greenspan.
And I totally agree. I saw some videos of Ben Pelt presenting some Hebrew stuff, and I thought, okay, that's okay, that's all right. But I hate both of his books.
No, it's just. I mean, it's wrong. Like, I don't understand. Anyway,
The Basics of Biblical Hebrew is a bad textbook. I really don't like it. But The Basics of Biblical Aramaic, you can't learn Aramaic from it.
Aramaic is even worse than the Hebrew book, but yeah. It's
anyway. I say this as somebody who tried and failed, but Greenspan is fantastic. Anyway, so להוציא is both directions. You can be outside and pull in and bring it out, or you can be inside and push it out or take it out, or it's just the idea of it being in and then going out. So 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪, these are the men are outside of the cave, and they need to go into the cave and bring out these kings. And the men, like להוציא min hamera, min is out of. Like they are in it, bring them out of the cave. Like that. It's very, very graphic in Hebrew, I think. All right. So let's move on to verse 23 so that we can make a little bit of progress today without all my preaching. Colton, please go ahead.
ויעשו כן, ויוציאו אליו את חמשת המלאכים האלה מן המערה. את מלך ירושלים, את מלך חברון, את מלך ירמות, את מלך לקיש, את מלך עגלון.
That one is Lachish.
Lachish.
Yeah. Great. Jonathan would like to say something about the hamlachim ha'ele.
Why?
Because it's bad writing. You love to say everything is bad writing, but you don't say this is bad writing.
What? Well, are we on what verse? Because
he says in this one, he says these 5 kings, and then he goes to the next verse and he says these kings, and then he goes to the next verse and he says these kings, and he goes to the next verse and he says, why does he keep saying these kings? Why can't he say the kings and be done with it?
What's the text critical note on those? They probably get rid of them.
There's only one text critical note, and it's let's see, the Septuagint. No, it says that the Septuagint is lacking it.
Yep.
And they brought them out to Joshua because we don't need them because it says 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪. It already has them.
Although I don't know if I would say that's bad writing, because it seems like that's just using it as a refrain, as a literary function. I don't know.
It sounds bad to me.
I don't know.
When you're reading it, to say over and over and over 𝗥𝗓𝗦𝗧𝗥𝗓𝗦𝗧𝗥𝗓𝗧𝗧, it sounds awful. See, now this time I'm saying it's bad writing, and you don't agree. No. Anyway, most of the time I think that the biblical writers were generally native speakers of the language, and they did well. But in this case, I say, I don't know about that. All right. So Colton, go ahead and lead us through the verse and translate it.
Sure. So 𝗥𝗚𝗚𝗛𝗧, and they did thus, and they brought to him these 5 kings from the cave, the king of Jerusalem, and the king of Hebron, the king of Yarmut, the king of Lachish, and the king of Eglon.
So in this case, maybe these 5 kings make sense, because he's 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗧, saying colon. These 5 kings are the ones he brought out. Jerusalem, Hebron, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, in this case, anyway.
Yeah. Does Jerusalem make any sense? We are in the book of Joshua.
No.
As far as I know, the city was named Shalem up until the conquest of David, I believe. That's what I thought. What I've been in the
Tales.
Jebus.
Welcome in Jesus Tales.
Jebus.
Hello, Jesus Tales.
Maybe
these kings is emphasizing which kings, a group of 5. Yes, but from the beginning of this chapter, it's been talking about the same group of 5 kings. So it's kind of redundant. But I understand that Yerushalayim, that the Yeru part on the beginning may have been from a Jebusite word that means city of peace, Yerushalem. I don't know.
Well,
maybe. So maybe this was later on a Jebusite name of the city.
Here's a pet peeve of mine. I happen to think that most, I shouldn't say all, most of the Hebrew Bible is composed during or post-exile. So it makes sense that you would get Jerusalem sometimes, because that's their environment. That's where they are. So
we got to say goodbye to Jonathan Santana real quick, because he is on his way out.
Oh yes, I hope to be.
So
here
we will see you.
Oh, maybe join the patrons. Excellent. Wonderful.
Yes, that would be great. What do we see here? Jesus or Joshua falls 40 years after the Israelites rejected Jesus' spy report. Joshua's spy report.
Oh, okay. Religious or neutral is this channel?
But I mean, it could be. I don't know.
It might be. But
Joshua falls
I'd call
40
Jesus
years.
Joshua rather than Joshua Jesus. But anyway.
But I wonder what it means. Joshua falls 40 years after. What, he falls? Oh, you mean he dies? I don't know what it means. He falls. Jerusalem falls.
I'll be right back.
Jerusalem falls 40 years after Joshua's report was rejected. So you're saying that because Jesus was in 30 AD and then 40 years and the fall of Jerusalem, you're making an analogy. We don't get into that stuff. We are here for Hebrew.
I actually do think that's a tremendous observation. But 40 everything is a common trope with throughout Scripture, so it makes sense.
Well, I'm 44, so maybe I'm a trope.
Well, I'm 40, so I am definitely a trope.
I'm a man.
You are a trope.
Jonathan,
you know that movie? You know that movie, 40-Year-Old Virgin? That's me living the life, man. Living the life.
I'm 40.
All right. Well, here we go. Verse 24. Who was verse 23? That was you, Colton, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it's Jason's turn. I need to step away for a few minutes. I will be right back.
All right. We're now at 10 minutes to the hour, so we're going to push through as much as we can, and we enjoy having conversation in the live chat. Don't be bothered if we don't get everything you say up on the screen. Verse 24. Vayehi kehotzi'am et hamlachim ha'ele אל יהושע, ויקרא יהושע אל כל איש ישראל, ויאמר אל קציני אנשי המלחמה, ההלכו איתו. Okay, so this, I want to stop there because there's a lot of weird stuff here. First of all, Vayhi 𝗥𝗚𝗦𝗡𝗥, we already have a direct object. It says, and when he brought them out, or according to their bringing them out. It could be the here is the subject, according to their bringing out, or it could be the object, according to bringing out them. And so it could be like when they brought them out. And then 𝗥𝗓𝗦𝗡𝗥 would be redundant. We wouldn't need it, but we're going to read it as a subject because that way we make that less redundant and we can ignore the Septuagint. So, and it was according to their bringing out these kings to Joshua, El Yoshua, and he called, that is Joshua called, the va on the vayikra here should be read as part of it should be read as the first verb, right? It means that it starts at when they brought these kings out to Joshua. Joshua called El Kol Ish Israel. Now we see that the Syriac is missing the whole phrase up till Vayomer. And D, that is the Kol Ish, the word Ish is missing in some manuscripts of the Septuagint. In some Hebrew manuscripts and in the early Septuagint. That's what that means. So it could be El Kol Yisrael instead of El Kol Ish Yisrael. Vayomer El Ktine Anshe HaMilchama, to the officers of the men of war. And then we have an interesting construction. This is the verb halchu. They went. So alchu is they went. The hey on the beginning is a relative. It's like she or asher. El Ktine Anshe HaMilchama Asher Alchu Ito, who went with him. It's very, very odd. It's infrequent to find the hey relative joined to a finite verb. We find hey relative attached all the time to participles, but a finite verb like halchu, they went, as a katal, is very, very strange to have hey in front of it.
Some people think, well, I don't know if some people, one person thinks that the definite article is always a hey relative.
Yeah, I think that's silly. But, I mean, there is something, I think it developed from it. It developed from it, just like in Greek, where the whole developed from, it was originally.
Yeah, maybe that's why he was originally. Like, instead of HaSefer HaTov, he would say, still translated as the good book, but he would say the book which is good.
But then you have to say which book which is good, which book which is good. It can't always be a relative.
Oh, right. Yep.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of relatives.
So it says, Kirvu, Simu et raglechem, al tzavere hamlachim ha'ele. Hamlachim ha'ele. Sorry, I'm starting to lose it with that phrase. So approach, kirvu, come close. Simu et raglechem, like put your feet or place your feet. Al tzavere hamlachim ha'ele, on the necks of these kings. I guess he's got them on the ground and they're supposed to come up and put their feet on their necks. That sounds really bad. Vaikrevu, and they drew near. This is from, so kirvu, vaikrevu, it's from karov, close. Vayasimu et ragleihem al tzavarehem. Or not tzavarehem, tzavrehem. That sounds funny, tzavrehem, but that's what it says. Tzavrehem. So they put their feet on their necks.
Yeah. Them down.
All right. So I'm not going to go over anything else in that verse. I don't like the idea putting your feet on people's necks.
Oh, by the way,
violence.
We have to do our customary alcoholic intro. 50 West.
We don't have to.
Oh, but I want.
We could do coffee.
Oh well, I don't drink coffee at 5 in the afternoon. 6 in.
I don't drink beer while teaching Hebrew. Verse 25 is Jonathan.
I don't get.
We've got We've got 6 minutes, so let's go really quick because I want to make some more coffee before we do wine.
Yes.
Actually, let's stop here. Let's stop at 24, and we'll start 25 next week. So this way we can have a couple of minutes break before we start wine green, and let everybody know real quick that wine green we're going to be covering exercise 24, and it is about the infinitive construct and its uses and adding suffix pronouns to everything outside of the katal, the past tense.
It's the imperfect imperative infinitive construct.
Yeah.
Well, the infinitive construct on those forms.
Yeah. Okay, so that will be it. We'll meet you in 5 minutes, if you don't mind giving us 5 minutes.
We will be back shortly.
Really, guys, we love you. Please come every week, and we're so happy to see you here. We really are. Like, it does me good to have you guys there, and I wish that you would talk and
tell your friends and family and neighbors and cousins about this, and bring them along.
Hebrew is awesome. Hebrew is awesome. We love it, and you love it too. So bring people. Bye.
Bye, folks.
I'm Yisrael Chai.
I'm Yisrael Chai.